So gaming has a problem. The entire industry is in trouble right now. And this is kind of funny to say, but gaming is an over $300 billion a year revenue generating industry. This is an industry that is making a ginormous amount of capital, with projections seeing over 100% growth in the entire industry over the next 10 years. This is something we need to hone in on, because for some odd reason, there are venture capital funds, esports teams all around the world that are struggling to meet ends meet. And so I wanted to go ahead and chat today about a project that is trying to spearhead in a burgeoning industry, crypto gaming, the revolution that is supposed to go ahead and save a lot of these gaming companies, a new way to go ahead and generate revenue. Today we're talking about Beam. If you enjoy this kind of content, as always, like and subscribe. We're trying to go ahead and become the #1 crypto gaming channel on the planet. A tall task, but one I think we can do. Let's get into it, and thank you for the support. So let's chat about how we got here in the first place. 1971 was a big year. It was the year that games like Pong got adoption, and there wasn't really a lot of money flowing around, but we did go ahead and receive a lot of growth over the 1970s, 1980s with the introduction of Pac-Man and a lot of these other consoles. That was great and all, and these companies were making a bit of money, but nothing too crazy. But for some odd reason, there was this little technology that was coming out. It was called the internet, and the internet was a big boom for a lot of things, especially technology. People needed something to entertain them, and games were there to do just that. No longer were people going outside and touching grass. They were playing some video games like StarCraft, Brood War, etc. And so now we've come to a point where there were a good amount of games, and these big AAA publishing studios were going ahead and absolutely dominating. But we ran into a bit of an issue. The little guys weren't really getting a chance. And that was the case until some of these publishers like Steam, Epic Games, the Nintendo Switch Store, were allowing these indie development studios to go ahead and actually list their games and give them publicity. This came at a time where gaming was booming and there were more people playing games than ever. An incredible era. Some would call it the golden era of the 2000s to 2010s. And that was great and all, until one thing catapulted us to a brand new level. It was called the pandemic. The pandemic sucked, but after the pandemic, we had a bit of an issue. There were more gamers than ever before. Billions of gamers that have participated in the industry. But these gamers were getting hungry, and they were needing to sustain themselves, because after the stimulus checks ran out, they had to go back to work. There were less gamers available than there were back in 2020, which created a problem that for the first time in gaming's history happened. Gaming slowed down. I mean, people were playing less games than they were before. In fact, according to Business Insider, even after a surge during the pandemic due to inflation, game revenues have drastically decreased. In 2023, US gaming revenue fell 2.3% over the previous year due to decreased gaming usage. In 2021, the average gamer was spending 16.5 hours a week on games. A year later, that number fell to 13 hours. So clearly, people were playing less games, and the reason for that was, of course, work. And so these games, they're now going and launching, and they don't really understand what's going on. So they start laying off a bunch of employees. They don't know what they're going to do. The budgets are bigger than ever, but the amount of gamers there just aren't there. They aren't making the same amount of money that they were making before, and some of these indie studios randomly all of a sudden are making a bunch of money. So what's happening? There's a little bit of a conundrum here, because there are other industries that seem to be doing pretty damn well. I mean, Axie Infinity made $4 billion in sales, and for these little bored apes seem to be doing well. Bitcoin, we've got to go ahead and take a bit of a step back. Bitcoin, back in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto made his Bitcoin white paper, and he was quite a genius. He said that this was supposed to be the next payment revolution, and that was great and all. People have made a bunch of use cases for it. One of the use cases was gaming. People were making games on the blockchain. And one of the cool use cases for that is increasing revenue generation by having everything on chain and incentivizing people with this thing called tokens, which is where we're finally getting at with Beam. Beam is one of those projects that was formed by Merit Circle, one of the largest investment firms in the entire crypto gaming space. They went ahead and got this industry that was almost nothing, poured hundreds of millions of dollars worth of capital into, and they did pretty well for themselves. I mean, their portfolio survived the 2022-2023 bear market, and they grew so much to the point where they gained a pretty fair market share of the entire crypto gaming space, at least relative to what some of these other investment firms were going ahead and doing. And they went ahead and decided, hey, what if we use some of these partnerships of all these games that we've gone ahead and invested into, and maybe we can even form our own thing to help them grow and to help the overall industry grow. And they did exactly that. They had a token called Merit Circle, and they transitioned to 𝐵EAM. And their treasury right now stands at over $200 million. This is an enormous treasury that 𝐵EAM as a company has gone ahead and grown. And this is the thing when it comes to 𝐵EAM. It's not just any other gaming chain. They're providing support that some of the biggest mobile gaming titles have gone ahead and adopted. For example, Trial Extreme, an over 150 million download empire, is building a game on 𝐵EAM. And when the CEO was asked why exactly they would take the plunge with 𝐵EAM, this is what they said.
The reason that we chose 𝐵EAM was, first, the concept is so correct. Web 2 people know how to make a game. That's what we know how to do. We don't assume that we understand the Web 3 world. We can do everything, but we shall make mistakes. And working in a philosophy of, here is a set of tools. We already done the mistakes. We know what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
So there are multiple catalysts clearly hitting the markets right now. There are the partnerships that 𝐵EAM is providing, the support that 𝐵EAM is providing, the games from the traditional space that are now looking to increase revenue generation. So they're building with blockchains like 𝐵EAM on the AVAX subnet. And now we have all of this combining to make an enormous movement of billions of dollars moving into the crypto gaming space in swift speed. And that's exactly what's happened. 𝐵EAM right now is at a $907 million market cap, a $1.14 billion fully diluted valuation. And the thing is, it's not even crazy, because earlier this year, they had an over $2 billion valuation. It was a crazy period of growth for crypto gaming. One of the reasons that people were so bullish on 𝐵EAM back in the day, and I'm talking about a couple months ago now, is because of their unlocks. Over 80% of their tokens are out, and this is the problem that the entire industry has faced. Low float, high FDV coins have been plaguing the crypto gaming industry. These coins launching at 5% of their entire supply. That means 95% of it is still getting out there. That is a problem, a very big problem that crypto gaming has to go ahead and solve. Well, these problems are slowly but surely getting fixed, but why bother trying to fix the problem when you've already been around for a couple years and you've already gotten most of your supply out there? That's why some of these coins that are higher float with 83% of their supply out there, you don't really have to worry about it a lot. If you look at token unlocks, it's just not really anything crazy. In 2025, sure, the rest of the supply is going to get out there, but that's something that for something that's already valued at $1 billion is not really a major concern. Now let's talk a little bit more about what Merit Circle is doing with 𝐵EAM exactly, because they're making money. And with the money that they're making, on their quarterly reports, they've reported that they've been burning the 𝐵EAM token with some of those profits. And 𝐵EAM continues to be burnt every day. So we have this coin that in a space that is filled and littered with low float coins, they have a high float, they have a high market cap, they've got enormous partnerships, and they're burning their token. I mean, that is just something that you can't really say a lot of these other chains are doing. But on top of that, they're one of the first on the AVAX subnet. That is an $11 billion cryptocurrency. They're spearheading the entire gaming space in. But the thing is, they don't really think of it just like Avalanche. They want to be chain agnostic. They want to be everywhere. They want 𝐵EAM to be just one big part of this story. They want to make sure that crypto gaming is going to make it. And they've been investing into things pretty well, because recently they announced a $1.5 million investment into Aethir. And I actually went ahead and invested into Aethir as well and did pretty well for myself. I mean, this thing's at a $2.9 billion FDV, $269 million market cap, and their treasury is increasing as a result. Other plays, for example, SoFon, they've gone ahead and worked on the 𝐾 chain, which is a little bit of a shock. I mean, SoFon, it's not exactly on 𝐵EAM, but they do have heavy incentives and heavy ties with the 𝐵EAM token. They have SoFon farming going on right now that is using 𝐵EAM. And this is a really big deal because there's over $110 million in a single-sided liquidity pool, and that's a lot of 𝐵EAM that's being staked right now. The more 𝐵EAM is staked, the more 𝐵EAM is burned, and the more 𝐵EAM is accumulated, the higher the price of 𝐵EAM is going to inevitably go. And don't forget that they're going ahead and supporting these games from their inception. And they have a massive platform that is allowing people to go ahead and play these games and get some exposure into them. A recipe that, to be honest, for me at least, makes Beam a no-brainer in 2024. July 2024 is coming up. Crypto gaming is looking more bullish than ever. And my friends, it's looking like a good day to go ahead and be with Beam. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section. As always, join us on our journey to become the top crypto gaming channel. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.